Token Metrics is a cryptocurrency investment platform that helps users leverage machine learning to become better crypto investors. Our in-depth analysis helps eliminate the emotions of investing, find profitable investment opportunities, and filters out scams. Learn more at tokenmetrics.com. Disclaimer: Token Metrics Media LLC does not provide individually tailored investment advice and does not take a subscriber's or anyone's personal circumstance into consideration when discussing investments, nor is it registered as an investment advisor or broker-dealer in any jurisdiction. Information contained herein is not an offer or solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any security. The Token Metrics team has advised and invested in many blockchain companies. A complete list of their advisory roles and current holdings can be viewed here at tokenmetrics.com/disclosures.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Ian Velina, and today we have the pleasure of having a live stream with Sandeep, the co-founder of Matic Network. Sandeep, how are you?
I'm good, Ian. Thanks a lot for having me here.
Great.
It's been a long time. I think last time we did something was like 1 year back or something like that.
Yes, yeah, it was near consensus last year. So you guys have
8-9 months.
Yeah, you guys have done a great job executing. You obviously have been a darling with the Token Metrics community and audience ever since we met you guys in August 2018 in Hyderabad, India, when you guys won the Crypto World Tour pitch event. And it's been a crazy ride since then.
Yeah, it has been like quite a journey for us.
Yes, and you also have some big announcements that just came out today as well in terms of staking and everything. So we'll do a deep dive and we'll also take questions from the audience. Okay, so
Yeah.
So for now, let's just kind of start things off. Tell people, what is Matic Network?
So as many of, I'll keep it very short. So Matic is basically a layer 2 network of side chains built on top of Ethereum, which provide, mass top level scalability to the dApps that are being developed on top of Ethereum. So, all the dApps that are already there on Ethereum or new dApps that are being built, they get to benefit from the scalability being offered by the Matic sidechain. Now, on the Matic sidechain side, there are we originally come from a Plasma background. So, we have a full-blown Plasma Mode VP implementation over there. Plus, we have a POS sidechain also. So many people say that we are basically a layer 2 suite of layer 2 approaches. POS is also there, and then you have the Plasma also there, and then we are researching on a lot of upcoming things like optimistic rollups, ZK rollups. So these will be further added to the suite. So what we want to become is a all-encompassing layer 2, which provides whatever corresponding requirements are there for any particular dApp. Basis their requirement, they can choose which level of layer 2 security they want to choose. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that was definitely very technical. I encourage everybody to go out there and just research Matic Network. Obviously, our team has done that, and we're very, very bullish. As mentioned before, this is one of our really most bullish projects out there, just based on looking at the due diligence on the technicals, from a technology perspective, the code review. Obviously, we have that available on tokenmetrics.com. Now, for people who want to ask questions, go to menti.com, that's MENTI.com, and use the code 945552. That's 945552. Submit your questions. This is going out to our YouTube audience, Twitter, and we've also shared this with Telegram, and this also gets turned into a podcast as well. So if you like to consume this via audio form, be sure to check that out. Okay, so kind of give us the history of Matic Network, where the idea came about, and then we'll slowly work ourselves towards where it is now and where it's going in the future.
Yeah, so the Matic story started from our my co-founder JD Jayanti. He was a part of Plasma research group, and then we realized that there were some problems with the existing existing Plasma implementations. They were not very usable and not very developer friendly. So what he came out with is a EVM based sidechain, which can allow smart contracts and things like that over there, which provides the usability and the developer experience, which can match the expectation of the developer, of course, and then only there will be mass adoption. So the story started from there, and we were already well we very well connected and friends with each other and in the community, and we were like we used to interact on a lot of research based topics. And when we saw that, okay, this POC looks something good, and we can really make a formidable platform for dApps. So that is where we started, and from there have been a lot of changes in the model. A lot of new people joined in our team. Today we have a team of very solid, I think it is one of the best engineering teams, I would say, in the crypto space, one of the best ones. And on the research side also, we are doing a lot of things like Vaibhav is doing a lot of stuff on ZK rollups and optimistic rollup and all. He spoke at the Osaka DevCon also last year, and people from our team are going to be speaking in ETH Denver, and then ETH CC and all that. So new people joined in, and now our model is a much more evolved, as I was telling, that much more evolved and all encompassing layer 2 platform, which will provide the developers the facility to pick and choose what functionality or what level of security, the off-chain security, or what level of user experience they want, so that it becomes like a one-stop shop for developers to build any kind of dApps they are using. In future, we even believe that we are although the work is in the early phases, but in future we also want to provide enterprise kind of side chains, which can again add one more layer of scalability, and that will be the next level of growth for us. So that is where we are today. We launched our incentivized testnet CS 2001 in our incentivized staking program. It went live with 20 validators, randomly chosen from this, and we slowly will increase the number of validators, the public validators that will join that, and it has full blown staking functionality and everything. And then we are expecting our mainnet to go live somewhere within the Q1 of this thing. That's our
mainnet going live in Q1.
Yeah, mainnet. Okay. That mainnet definitely of course means scale. Staking also goes live with it. So mainnet and staking within Q1. That's what we are expecting. And after that, we have a lot of things like within this month also. You'll see a lot of things already are coming, and big dApps, big platforms integrating with us, and providing the SDKs to the developers. We recently had a dApp week where in 1 week we launched 5 different dApps, right? And that, I think nobody has done that before, and that already speaks that how many dApps are already in the line, because we have not even started over there. Like there are many.
How many dApps do you have now on the platform? 5, or do you have more?
No, we have more. I think we have around 10, 12, which are already live. And point to be noted here is that this is still beta net. So many of these had already tested on their testnet and everything, and they went live on beta mainnet. And these will be moving to the final eventual mainnet. But many of the teams are still in the testnet, and they want to migrate only once the final mainnet goes live. So there are large number of teams over there.
Okay, so let's talk some more about the staking. So how does that work? How's it structured? What's the governance model? What's the voting model? I understand anybody can delegate or give their Matic tokens to be staked.
Yeah. Yeah. So currently, you can say that it's there's a lot of similarity with the, let's say, Cosmos model also, because we have 100 slots to start with, where anybody who can stake X amount of tokens can join those slots to become a validator. Then once you are a validator, you can get the delegations towards you, and basis that you expect the rewards from the network once you participate in the mining. And then in terms of the proof of stake mining and being a block producer and being a consensus node, it depends. It is directly proportional to the amount of tokens that are being delegated to you, so that it promotes let's say the capitalism within the network, that whoever has more delegation, he has more stake in the network. That validator works more closely for the betterment of the network, so they get more chances to propose the checkpoints. Similarly, amongst these validators, each we call it currently a sprint and span. So each span, X amount of validators are chosen to be block producers. So they produce blocks. Let's say for 60 blocks, one particular block producer produces the block. Then in the same quorum, next 60 blocks, other one will create. And there are, of course, backup validators. So that provides a lot of scalability to the network, because at the end, how blockchains achieve scalability, no matter it's sharding, no matter it's which protocol you're talking about, at the end, it's about having less people participate in the block production and more people validate the blocks and randomizing the process. And that's exactly what happens here. Randomly, somebody gets selected to be a block producer, and then other people are there validating, and they are proposing the checkpoint. So basis that, how many checkpoints you're proposing, how many times you become the block producers, and things like that. There is there's a mechanism to get the rewards to the validators. So yeah, so basically you become a validator by staking some coin. You run a validator node. People delegate to you, and basis that delegation and your own tokens, you get rewards.
Now, sorry, the amount of validator nodes is restricted to about 100, I believe.
Yeah, currently yes, it will be 100, because see, there is a very important part that how Matic is different than other POS chains is that it's a pure layer 2. When I say pure layer 2, means the validators of the side chain are actually and everything is still happening in mainnet. There is one part of the consensus that happens. So let me explain it very, very simply. So you have block producer nodes, you have validators, and then you have the Ethereum mainnet where you have the checkpoints. So actually, if you see the execution is happening on the block producer layer. The chain is the developers, the dApps are interacting with the block producer layer. Then you have the validators who are validating the transactions and doing a consensus between them. Multiple people are doing the consensus that okay, everything is fine. They create a checkpoint and it goes to main chain. So why I'm saying it's a pure layer 2 is that the dependency of the overall consensus is also dependent on Ethereum main chain. So that's why the security is coming from multiple folds of the network. So there's a block producer level security. Then there's 100 validator nodes. We are validating on the mainnet. There are 100 validators on it, and then it is going to the Ethereum mainnet. So these 100 people are actually signing on a checkpoint and it is submitting to the main chain. So due to that, the signature size, there is a restriction on Ethereum that that it can take X amount of input only, like X size of input. So that's why right now we are starting with 100 validators. In future, once we have more concise signature techniques like BLS, it will increase to thousands later on. Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. Okay, so once again, the Mentimeter code, go to menti.com. That's MENTI.com. Enter the code 945552. That's 945552. And send in your questions and have them answered. Okay, so let's actually pull up one of the first questions. First question, I'm not sure if you can even answer it. They're asking what exchanges are in the pipeline.
yeah,
that one cannot be answered. Okay, so let's skip that. Next question is, what will the staking ROI be?
Yeah, so currently, as per our staking economics, we are expecting somewhere around 15 to 18% per annum rewards, considering the 30% bonding rate. By bonding rate, I mean it means the number of tokens that are staked in the network. So if their tokens are overall 30% of the network tokens are staked in the network, then the reward to everyone would be somewhere around 15 to 18%, somewhere around that. And if the bonding rate, let's say, goes to the double of that, let's say 60%, all the people are staking the into the token, into the network, then it will be reduced, like it will be 9%, like half of it, right? So basically the reward pool is fixed, and then it depends on number of tokens staked. If 30% tokens are staked, then you get 18%. If the stake token becomes big, like becomes double, then the reward becomes half. So 9, in that way. So 30% bonding rate, you get 18% reward.
Hold on. So to keep things simple, so it's 15 to 18%, but it's determined based on how many tokens are being
Tokens are-
staked
Yeah.
and basically how
Yeah,
active
so
the
18%,
staking is.
18% is there when 30% of bonding rate is there. If the bonding rate increases, proportionately, it will reduce the, yeah, it
Okay.
will get distributed.
All right. So next question from the audience. Why doesn't Matic have more clients building on the network?
Yeah. So, that's a very good question. And one of the biggest advantages that we have is the developer experience. So for developers, it's very, very easy to build on Matic sidechain. They don't have to, worry about running their own chain. They don't have to worry about learning a new language, new tooling. Everything that they have with the Ethereum main chain, that's exactly and directly available to them. So that's why it's very easy for for the developers building on Matic to use Matic if they are already there on Ethereum, right? So that's one of the biggest reasons. And of course, like nowadays, because our community has become so big that all of these dApp developers, the gamers, they want to interface with the community, and that is also one big part of that. Many developers are now looking to work with Matic because it's like already one of the fastest growing dApp platforms, and the community that we have is like really huge. For example, in India, I think if you ask anybody who is closely related to Indian crypto or blockchain ecosystem, they will tell you that around I can easily say that around 80 to 90% of all the dApps that are being built in India, they are being built on Matic. So
Wow.
the third part is,
Wait.
yeah,
So 80% of the dApps being built in India are being built on Matic Network.
I'm saying 90%.
90%.
80
Wow.
to I'm being conservative. 90%.
Wow, that's
And
pretty. Those are pretty huge numbers.
this is pretty huge number, and I'm just being conservative. I could have very easily said that you can only count the dApps on your hand which are not building on Matic. Otherwise, everybody who's building on whatever dApps are there in India, they are in some form or the other integrating with Matic in some form, right? So because let's say in terms of our developers, so that's the third point, that our developer ecosystem and then our developer interfacing is very, very huge. So if you see last year itself, we like this year, current running year, we have already done around 35 to 40 hackathons, and then by the end of this year, like in India, we have March to March year. So basically, by the end of March or April, we will be crossing around 55 to 60 hackathons. And recently, I actually tweeted about it also. I was invited to an engineering college to give there was a research conference, so they wanted to give me a talk on blockchain. And many students actually approached me, and they already knew about Matic. And I asked that, how do you know about Matic? And then these guys said that because Matic is there in every hackathon. So they know that, okay, blockchain, means it's in Matic. So India is, of course, a big and it's our home ground, so it's becoming a huge market for us. But if you see like for example, just see the dApps that got rolled out, only one out of India in the dApp week, I'm saying one dApp was out of India, other four were out of India. So globally also there are a lot of developers who are seeing that value, and I told you that in India it's already going viral, and we expect to keep like 90% share, in India at least. Like, yeah.
Okay, wow, that's good. That's good. Okay, so going on to the next question from the audience. How many coins do you need to be a validator?
In order to start a validator node, you just need one Matic token. Like, you don't need to buy an X amount of stash to, like, there's no minimum to become a validator. It's just that when you go to apply for the slots, it has to be seen on the market basis that, let's say, all the other 100 people are staking much more, tokens than them on their own validator node, then there's a possibility of them getting the slot before you, right?
Wait, I mean,
So it's only the market segment.
I mean,
Yeah.
so the number of validators is restricted to 100. So if you have more than 100 people with more than one token wanting to be validators, obviously that can happen. So So how's it determined? Is it based on number of tokens or based on?
It will be based on. It will be determined by markets. So this is like a slot feature. So initially, let's say there are not 100 people, so you can come and stake one token and become a validator. But then other validators can come and bid to become. They will be bidding processes.
Okay, so bidding systems.
Yeah,
Okay,
people can bid to become validators. Yeah.
So eventually it's people who have more Matic Network tokens, or
Yeah, either their own or the delegate owns to them, right? So if you have large number of people delegating to you, then you can easily outnumber anybody who's holding singly.
if you
So
delegate. So it's based on number of delegations, not.
no, I'm saying see, delegation or your own token. But at the end, it's the amount of tokens staked via you, right? So
Via the validator.
whether you are owning the tokens yourself or you have the tokens delegated also you, depends, like whoever is higher, that gets the priority in the network.
Wait, hold on. So let's say I want to run a node, and to get into the top 100, you have to have 101 delegated tokens. So hypothetically, I could just get friends or people on the internet to delegate to me 105, and that would make me crack the top 100, giving me a validator node. Is that how it works?
Yeah. If large number of people are delegating to you, then you have overall large number of tokens staked, and you are larger than, let's say, the top 100 or like other people, and you are in the top 100, then of course you become the validator.
So what happens to somebody who's outside the top 100 getting delegated tokens?
What happens to this? Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah. So let's say, in order to get into the top 100, you have to have 100 tokens, for example, and somebody currently only has 20, and they're busy acquiring delegated tokens. So what happens during that period? Nothing?
So if, let's say, they are acquiring the delegation, so what you would do is that currently you will get that, you will actually start, rather than keeping the tokens to yourself, you can delegate to some other validator for the time being, till the time you get enough firepower. Once you have enough firepower, then you apply to become a validator, and if you think that now you are more than 100, then you apply for it.
So what's the application process like? Is it online, or it's just via
smart contract? It's a smart contract.
Yeah.
You will go to the smart contract and register yourself as, let's say, a potential node, and then people and you can show the delegation, and then the smart contract algorithm will prioritize you in the next, let's say, bidding process or whatever is the time span.
And is that something friendly to non-developers, or what's the user interface for that?
We will be providing a staking UI for that, where even non-developers can go and create their own validator node, run the validator node, and then attach to it, and then do it. Of course, like when you are running a validator node, you are expected to know how to run the node over there, how to configure the network settings and all that. Although recently our partners, Anchor Network, they provided one-click deployment. So one-click deployment of Matic nodes. So if you are using that, then it's easier for you. But yeah, some knowledge is required if you want to run a validator node, because it requires some setup from your side. So if you are non-technical, that application and all that process it will be automated and will be through a staking UI. But yeah, being a validator does require you to have some knowledge of networking and installations and things like that.
Okay, all right. Going to the next question. Will Matic Network scale other blockchains in the future other than Ethereum?
So right now we are very bullish on Ethereum. We think that Ethereum is the blockchain of future for now. But yeah, if some particular blockchain picks up enough traction in some time in future, then we may think about it. For now, like our full focus is on Ethereum only. We believe that Ethereum is the biggest smart contracting platform and is going to be in future also.
Now, question: how is Matic going to be impacted by Ethereum 2.0?
Yeah. So see, I mean, as I was just explaining that, let's say these 100 validators, there is a consideration on the input size of Ethereum and all that. So the basic thing is that if Ethereum 2 scales, then it's actually going to benefit the layer 2 only. So one is that part. Second part is that with sharding, there are many issues, like composability is a very big issue, and and the other part is that generally if a particular shard is secure, then it will have large number of validators, and then it will have lesser TPS and all that. and then it's all about like the supply and demand. So if the supply of these transactions on Ethereum main chain goes up, the demand will shoot by 2x or 5x in that, and there will always be a need of a layer 2 that we believe. Plus, I mean, E2 is still fairly fairly deep into the future. It will still take like at least 2-3 years from here to to come out completely. And as per our analysis for now, I think there is going to be like sharding will take some time to become mature on any platform, like be it Ethereum, be it any other blockchain. There are many blockchains that are building sharded blockchains. It's going to be quite a challenge for
now.
some time.
I mean, the question, however, is Ethereum, because Matic Network helps Ethereum dApps scale, correct?
Yeah.
So if Ethereum 2.0 solves the scaling issue, will people still need Matic Network to build dApps on?
Yeah. So it's correct question. So I'm just saying that imagine, let's say you want to say that Ethereum 2.0 will increase the Ethereum scalability to, let's say, 100x, right? Let's say. So when that happens, my first point was that when that happens, the need or the supply increases, the demand for that will also increase. Like there will be even few massly adopted dApps will start eating most power of the, or most net bandwidth of the network. And then again, there will be the same situation that you will still need layer 2. So that's what we believe. We believe that the layer 1 should always be a good settlement layer, and then the business activity can happen on layer 2 where via multiple mechanisms. And that's where so that's one part where we believe that layer 1 will always be a settlement layer. If Ethereum 2 increases the supply of the TPS, let's say, available, there will be more dApps which will again eat up the entire bandwidth, and then you will need more security on layer 2.
Okay, all right. Going to the next question from the audience. Once again, if you have a question you would like to submit, go to menti.com, menti.com. Use the code 945552. That's 945552. Next question is about partnerships. The person is asking, Hedera Hashgraph signs a partnership with Google Cloud and the price exploded. What top company might end up partnering with Matic that can have the same effect? Now, I mean, obviously, you can't talk about price on just due to legal stuff, but
exactly.
Talk about business development and partnership in terms of different companies or well-known companies.
Yeah. So definitely, I can't name those companies, but I think that if you go about the actual impact of somebody adopting a blockchain, I think the way or the partnerships that we are exploring with large corporations, that ours would be more meaningful. Although I'm not read in detail that what kind of partnership Hedera Hashgraph is exploring with Google.
I heard that. So Hashgraph is using Google's cloud servers, and then Google joined their governing council. So they have a board seat in the council, which I think is the bigger part of the partnership. So,
but yeah, I mean, it's
not kind of meaningful.
Like Google, it's not like Google's users will start using Hedera Hashgraph anytime soon, right?
No, not yet.
Yeah. I mean, like no comments on their side, but I'm just saying that when we will announce those partnerships, they will be more meaningful than this, and definitely those will also be like the bigger
meaningful in terms of usage or in terms of bigger companies than Google.
Usage of the actual network. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Next question: do you have any partnerships with Binance?
Partnership with Binance. I'm not sure like what exactly is the question. Like we did the Binance launchpad, so definitely we have a very good and close relationship with Binance. So we definitely keep doing a lot of activities around.
Now,
and
now, are you also working with Binance Chain?
Are you? Sorry, I didn't get the question.
Are you working with Binance Chain, Binance's blockchain, as well? Because for
So
scaling?
Binance Chain, we have a Matic, deployed on Binance Chain, Matic token deployed on Binance Chain also, and yeah, there are quite a few explorations happening on the background. But yeah, once something comes into fruition, then we'll make them public.
Okay, next question. Is Matic a pump and dump coin? Was the team
Mhm.
involved in the last pump and dump? So go ahead and kind of answer, because some people do have some concerns with the flash crash.
Yeah. I mean that's something. When the first time it happened, like of course it was a big shock to everyone, and we tried to find the reasons behind it and things like that. There was like huge community furor and all that. And after that, it happened one or two more times, but the intensity was small. Recently, again, in 2-3 days back, there was again something like that happened. And if you are a community member and you are thinking about, think about it, like just see the kind of like the hard work that team does behind all those DApp adoptions and all that. Why would the team ourselves do this, to do this flash crash? Like, if let's consider the extreme scenario where team wants to sell its token. Why would we dump the token in one minute, like all the tokens in dumped in 1 minute, and then everybody gets scared, and then no further people starts coming. Like, this is actually giving bad name, at times bad names to the project, right? Why would we
Mhm.
do it if we wanted to sell the
I mean,
token?
some
So
people
just
were,
think on that.
yeah, I think some people were speculating that maybe it was an angry
Yeah.
team member that left the company and was just getting rid of his tokens, or maybe it's a whale investor
So
was on
the if
leverage
you
or
again
something.
yeah, if you go to those flash crash and you see the amount of token dropped, or amount the token that gets sold into the market, that the percentage is actually at times more than the total supply of the
Of the team.
or like a large part of the circulating supply, right? Who will have these if somebody has those tokens, they will have it on, you can see it on blockchain, right? Those
Mhm.
tokens would have moved from our foundation token. Those are not. All I'm trying to say is that these are all like these some of these like large traders. They The only reason I feel that there can be only two reasons. First reason is that these guys are acquiring these tokens and then they are taking short positions. The underlying problem is that even if Matic today is a mid cap coin, but it is listed and one of the highest volume coins, highest volume assets in the markets, and it has leveraging available on it. Like you have on FTX, there is a futures related listing contract also related to Matic. So what these guys are doing, I think, is that they acquire the position and then they take short positions, in the margin side or whatever, and then they try to dump the price so that everybody panics and people also their stop loss start getting hit, and then they make money on these short positions. That's the
Yeah.
If you think about it, like as an external person also, anybody who's trying to make money, there is no point for them in selling the tokens 25% down from the value that is there, especially with a coin like Matic, which has such a good volume. If you were to sell, you can easily sell it over days without affecting the price. Why would you go for that slippage? So only reason that we feel, the first reason is that these people are trying to do trying to make profit from shorting of the token. The other, like, conspiracy theories, I don't believe in that, but other conspiracy theories that some people want to do the reputation damage to the token and things like that. That's why they do it and all that. But I think like slowly and steadily, you will see the other sides of the market also picking up. If somebody is doing this, then a large amount of people will start building the positions, in that dump range, so that they can pick it up and then the price goes up. So the other side of the market will get built very soon, and then these attacks will become less and less effective for the parties who are trying to do. I am already seeing some sort of those behaviors. If you go to our books, there are many people. There are huge large amount of orders now at let's say some price below the current market price, which I feel that many people are now speculating, and they have their stop losses also, that if it goes below this, buy it. So if, like, I think now these people will try to do, whoever these whales or traders are there, they may get their hands burnt, because there are other sides of the market also getting built slowly.
Okay. All right. So next question. How many users do you see using Matic in the next 2 to 3 years?
I mean, in terms of in terms of DAU, like, I will call DAU of all the apps. I mean, to be honest, like, we have not calculated the numbers on that, okay, this is the number that we're looking at. So I don't have a good answer on that number exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next question. Do you have any plans to burn Matic Network tokens or coins?
Yeah. So we definitely don't want to burn the tokens controlled by the Matic entities, because that makes us security. And everybody knows that, in the future, Matic token will go to US and things like that, and we don't want to meddle with the token versus security aspect of the token, right? So we will never do it ourselves. There will be never a burn from Matic side, which is being controlled by us. However, using the governance where community votes, just like MakerDAO, where MakerDAO community, the Maker token community decides that X amount of fees generated will be burnt and X amount will be given as dividend or whatever. That kind of mechanism, the in protocol mechanism using governance, there can be one thing over there, and we had expressed that in our white paper, and we stand by that approach. We are formulating that approach and consolidating that approach so that there is the utility aspect of token is still remains, and then it's a governance defined decision rather than any single party holding that decision. So yes, to answer your question, there will be, or I should say there may be a burn, but it will be an in protocol burn rather than any single party deciding that.
Okay.
And
All
we'll
right.
talk about that mechanism soon.
So next question. How many dApps are already built on Matic Network, and how many might get released in 2020?
So by end of 2020, my target would be at least, so exact rather than exact number, I would say that what I am targeting personally and my personal mission and goal, and my teammates like Siddharth and all that. So we want to be at least in the top 3 platforms in the space. The top one currently is Ethereum with I think 2,500. So Ethereum and us, like Ethereum and Matic, are complementary. The second is I think Tron with 600 something dApps, and then I think third is EOS with 350 or something like that. So we want to be in top 3. That's our goal.
Wait, so you
So
have more dApps than EOS at the moment?
no, I'm not saying at the moment, but by the 2020, maybe,
Okay.
who knows?
Okay.
That's our target. That's our target, that we want to be in the top 3. That's what I'm saying. That after Ethereum, Tron, we want Matic to be the third one.
Okay, very interesting. Now,
Yep.
can you kind of tell us more about the future? So 2020 and going forward, how does Matic Network become more widely adopted in the crypto space?
So I think once our mainnet is live, and developers are currently already seeing the benefits out of it, and they start seeing those benefits more, and I think large number of dApps will migrate towards Matic, and some of them will become killer games, killer dApps. I mean, you would already be noticing about Matic that many teams, let's say battle racers, moved from Loom Network to Matic. There are many other games who were originally considering on some other blockchain. When they saw and experimented with Matic, now they are moving towards us. So we think that we, and like with Ethereum and Matic, we will actually be helping Ethereum to consolidate that dApp leadership space even more in 2020. And that will be like that's our actual final goal, is that Ethereum plus Matic becomes the de facto dApp, from which in the past 1.5 years, due to the ETH2 scalability issues and delay in that and all that, which has become a bigger problem. So from our side, we want to re-establish that Ethereum and Matic become the de facto standard for the dApp development.
Okay. What risks do you see out there that could maybe
Yeah.
slow things down?
Yeah. So the bigger, see, right now we are in the counter stake stage one, and the bigger risks is, of course, the biggest risk would be that if there is some big, let's say, bug found in the mainnet, which delays the go live by 2-3 weeks or whatever, or in something like that, like some technical related risks that we see. Currently we don't see any market related risks to that. Only thing would be that our technical final go live of the mainnet goes smoothly, which is currently looking very good. We did not find any big issues in our stage zero. The stage one testnet go live also happened very smoothly, and we have kept the model very simple and elegant and straightforward, so we don't see too many challenges. But that would be one particular risk, the technical risk, of course, which is always there with every this thing. And apart from that, no, I mean, on a larger level, only bigger risk is that this whole blockchain, the idea of blockchain becoming or idea of dApps becoming mainstream is a risk which everybody in the whole space has. Like Ethereum with DeFi, I think has found a sweet spot, but I think any other dApp form without DeFi, or which are not the kind of big DeFi this thing, and which is no other than Ethereum. Like, so for all of them, everyone has the risk that what if users don't want dApps at all? Like, so that's the big risk which the whole industry has.
Yes. Okay. So once again, if you have a question you would like to ask, go to menti.com. That's MENTI.com and use the code 945552. That's 945552. Okay, so thank you for the good words, Ray Vanio. Unfortunately, we can't talk about VET at the moment. This is about Matic. Okay, so we do have a question here. Let me pull it up. If there are only 100 to the, if there are only 100, hold on. You only limit the number of validator nodes to 100. Does it not make Matic Network very centralized? And what plan do you have in place to punish bad actors and validator nodes? Very good question.
Yeah, so if you see 100 on POS blockchain, 100 is actually a very good number. If you go to Cosmos, also only 100 nodes produce the blocks. I think, and only top 100, you have to be in top 100. And even then, if you go to if you talk about, let's say, Cosmos, only I think the 15 or 17 nodes, the top nodes, they control the large amount of block production. It's, I think, the situation is similar for Tezos blockchain also. So 100 is actually a very healthy number for a POS blockchain. Although people, because POS blockchains are just coming up, so people don't have that idea. So 100 is a healthy number. But the second thing is the advantage with Matic compared to any other, let's say, Cosmos or Tezos or any other POS blockchain, that only a half part of our consensus is being managed by this POS layer. Always know that we have a plasma layer which is at the Ethereum's level. So even if these 100 people collude and try to do something fishy with the network, you have the Ethereum main chain which is protecting everything. Like, you have all the staking is actually happening on the Ethereum main chain. The reward distribution, everything happens on Ethereum main chain. So if something goes wrong here, you still have one more layer of it. So many people don't realize that, in the past, like this whole 2017, ICO boom, many projects actually talked about this approach, that POW plus POS, in order to achieve scalability and solving the scalability trilemma, right? Decentralization scalability trilemma. So if you deeply see Matic, what is happening here? You have a POW layer, POW blockchain in the form of Ethereum. On top of that, you have a POS chain, which is in the form of Matic, right? So you are having two layers of security. So even if the 100 is a very healthy number here, but even if these guys try to do something fishy, they are being managed by Ethereum main chain. Their tokens are staked there, their rewards are here, and fraud proofs and other security mechanisms, slashing and things like that, to control these people on the Ethereum main chain.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
I kind of lost you in the middle there because I was checking the comments, but okay. Thank you. So we have some good words from Crypto Secret Circle. He's saying, Ian, you're a force to reckon with. I've followed you for years. Matic Network is the future. This is a great interview choice. Well, thank you guys. Definitely appreciate it. We definitely knew our community had an interest in Matic Network since we've been following them from the beginning. And if you have any other projects you want us to interview, feel free to just post in the comments. We also have an interview coming up with Ryan Taylor, who's from Dash. That's going to be going up live this week as well. So stay tuned for that. Okay, let me see if we have any other questions. No questions at the moment. Now, I do have some questions on my end that I typically ask every guest on the show. So let me just quickly pull this up. So first question is, what are 3 books that have inspired you or changed your life?
Okay, so I would say more than books. This is a very good this thing for me. So these days I'm actually mentioning any book. Something that has changed my life is now that we were still a very technology business can be very stressful, and these two, like the most lethal industry, you are merging these two, and then what you are doing is people, and then bang, you all the things like in general world when Uber let's say goes to public people in their team, then they do a public offering and everything there. So last year was listening to Naval and his techniques
or his tweets.
Is his podcast, Street Podcast, and Tim Ferriss podcast. These 3 are the most important thing. I will not name, like that has helped me more than reading like tens of books.
Okay, so, now he also has his own podcast now as well. Did you know that?
Yeah. On YouTube also is there. So I'm subscribed to that also. But mostly on YouTube channel, he shares those snippets of those his earlier broadcasts. But these 3, Farnam Street is the must one for everyone. Then Joe Rogan and Tim Ferriss are also like these are equivalent to reading 10 books on entrepreneurship, meditation, happiness, self improvement. I strongly recommend that. And so this your question I would dedicate to Naval also because he has changed my life. And then recently I read that book from Ben Horowitz, the What You Do Is Who You Are for your team's culture. And it was good to actually get some confirmation on some of the things that we were applying. Like somebody asked that why are many people developing on Matic, right? And I think one of the biggest reason is that we are a very partner centric organization. So when we are doing a partnership or we are making somebody ecosystem partner, he's building a DApp and all that, we think about their benefits. And in the book, actually, Ben mentions about some, philosophy adopted by the, virtual box team, not virtual box team. What's the name? I'm forgetting the name, but virtualization team. So they call it 51-49 rule. Like basically the cultural ethos says that when you are doing a partnership, you are thinking about the partner more rather than your own profits. And then slowly what happens is that overall you grow into an ecosystem where all your partners know that it's very fun and good to work with you, and then you get this ecosystem. So that I got the validation from there that what I'm doing is nice, what we are doing is nice.
What book is that called? Don, about 51-49?
Which one? Sorry?
The book about partnerships? You said something about partnerships, right?
Yeah. So that book has one chapter about the the famous, I don't know how I'm losing the name, the famous virtualization company.
VMware?
Yeah, VMware. Yeah. Yes, VMware. Yeah. So VMware and VirtualBox was coming to my mind, but that's one set product. So it mentioned about their techniques, the one particular cultural code that they had, and that's the same thing that we also follow here with Matic. And that's one of the reasons why we are getting a lot of players working with us.
Okay, all right. Next question we have. Besides your family, who are 3 people that have inspired you?
I would say that 2 people just off the top of my mind. I would name my co-founders. Anurag and JD only. I learned a lot from them. When we've been working together for many years now, and I keep learning a lot of things from them. For example, with JD, I learned that how he has created a group of mentors around him. So he's very quick to ask for help. If something goes wrong, he's very quick to ask for help. and at times we don't realize. I've been an elder child in my whole clan and all that, so I generally have been the elder who gives the advice, not takes the advice, right? So that's one learning I've got from him. And with Anurag also, communication is one thing that I've learned from him. So these two are the people. And then I have one of my mentor, Mr. Nikhil Kulkarni. He also is an entrepreneur. I've learned a lot from him also.
Okay. All right. So last question here. What are 3 actions you've taken that have changed your life?
So first and foremost action is the risk taking, things that I have done. So before Matic, I was running a very successful blockchain consulting kind of shop with the Scope Weaver name. And when I saw the potential in Matic, and I and JD discussed about the POC and all, I almost shut it down I didn't take more than 1 or 2 weeks, initiating the shutdown process. Although I supported my client for some time till that they have a smooth, off ramp process. But I, took that decision. So that decision has been one of the best decisions for us. And apart from that, what 3 actions I would say? I mean, it's hard to pin down, specific actions. I would say all my actions would be in the similar range, right? Quitting the job and starting when I had a lot of liabilities on me, because I was the sole earner for my family. So starting doing entrepreneurship at that time, leaving a very stable job with Deloitte was again one of the cornerstones of my decisions. So again, all my decisions would be again those risk-taking, ability that I have. So yeah, so those will be the ones. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up the show. Any last words before we wrap up?
I mean, so one key message that I would like to give, because somebody asked again that whether Matic team is involved or anything like that. I mean, whoever is watching us closely, in our community, sees us, how we work and all, you would know that we are not there for these petty gains. Although this approach doesn't even involve petty gains. So we as Matic team we would never do things like that. And this is some ongoing phase where some of these shorting mechanism is affecting this thing. And I'm sure that very soon this will be completely controlled. Although it's market, so this will keep happening in some intensity, but I think by and large it will be solved. So don't worry about it. And the kind of fundamental growth we have, I think the network will grow in its utilization and adoption, and of course other things will follow in the network value and whatever. Yeah. That's my message to the community.
All right. And we definitely recommend you check out Matic Network on tokenmetrics.com. We have real-time ratings and rankings for over 100 cryptocurrencies using artificial intelligence. Obviously not financial advice. Okay, with that being said, thank you so much, Sandeep. It was a pleasure having you on. And we'll end the show by saying, the moon is not the limit. To the moon and beyond. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ian, for inviting me here. Thank you.
Since the creation of the internet, every industry has been turned upside down. Amazon changed retail. Uber changed transportation. YouTube changed video forever. With the invention of crypto, money is next. At the speed technology is growing, the future of money and securities are digital. 9 out of 10 millennials do not trust banks. The value of money relies on trust. Government debt is higher than it's ever been before.